Hello everyone. I was just thinking to myself the other day that I hadn't seen Meganium in a while, so I thought I might bring it out and give it a try in this last week of the first half of Season 6, I think is the best way to describe it. Anyway, so we're in the Great League, we've got Meganium on our lead, we've got Galarian Stunfisk as our safe swap, bait swap, and we've got a Bastiodon in the back as a kind of a nasty shock. The idea being that we'll draw out any of the sort of counters to steel types by swapping in the Galarian Stunfisk and do some damage to them perhaps, and hopefully can clean up with the Meganium. So we're just going to hop into some matches and we'll just get going. I've been looking at some of the recent changes to the moves and been finding that they're looking quite exciting. I hope you're been paying attention and looking interested. I think Ninetales might be getting an outing in the near future, as will Politoed. But anyway, for now, let's get on with these matches. So, first up, we're getting high enough now to start running into veterans. I mean, my rating's not particularly stunning, but it's not terrible. Meganium is leading into a Drifblim. This is pretty terrible for us, actually. We're going to go straight into Stunfisk, and they've got a hard counter. So, at this point, we're in a basically disaster zone territory. I don't know if we can really claw this back, but we'll give it a go anyway. So, straight into the Earthquake on the Toxicroak. This is a bit of a gamble, but if they let it through, it will take them out. And they don't. They call the Earthquake successfully. So, that's three things that have gone against us already, and so that's bad news. We're going to bring the Meganium back in, because whilst in theory Toxicroak does resist Frenzy Plant, lots of things do, Frenzy Plant still hits like a truck, and Toxicroak's kind of squishy. So we need to shield the Sludge Bomb. And we're going to go straight into the Frenzy Plant. And there we go. As I said, they resist it, but it takes them out quite easily. Now, Drifblim, this is a terrible matchup. Meganium just can't handle flyers. I don't even know why I throw this Frenzy Plant here, because there's just no point. Look at that. I mean, I suppose it does some damage. It's noticeable, but it's not really enough. I think we'll stay in just to soften them up on the sort of hope that whatever they've got in the back is something I can take out with enough of an energy lead with Bastiodon. I don't know. First time out with the team, so perhaps I was overthinking it. And it's an Azumarill. So we've been debuffed, we've got equal shields than Azu, and basically our only real hope of winning right now is, do they have Hydro Pump or not? I have been running to increasingly that they don't have Hydro Pump, and at which point they're going to be Ice Beaming and play roughing us. So this is where we find out. We're going to let this through on the expectation that if it's Hydro Pump it'll be over quickly, and sure enough it was. If it had been an Ice Beam, we'd have been with a chance. If it had been a Play Rough, maybe. Anyway, so, good game to my opponent, basically. Countered me on every step. That's unfortunate. So, next up we've got Meganium into Bastiodon. This is a somewhat more favourable lead. In fact, whilst their Flamethrower hurts us a bit, our Frenzy Plant does them a lot of damage, and the Earthquakes just completely wreck them. So we're going to go straight into the Earthquake, because whilst they've got two shields up, they might be anticipating us baiting with a Frenzy Plant. And let it through. So we'll go into a Bastiodon here. I'm not entirely sure what I was thinking at this point, but I think the idea was Bastiodon versus Bastiodon. You know, they're going to switch. They're going to bring out their bait again, like a Toxicroak. What bad luck running a Toxicroak that basically devastates my whole team. Anyway, so we're going to flamethrower the Toxicroak, and we're just going to peck it down with the stone moves. And we're going to bring in Meganium. Now we've got to watch out for the Sludge Bomb here. We just can't afford to let them land that, so time to nibble away at the Toxicroak. So, have we got to another one in time? I wasn't counting close enough. Yes, was the answer. So, good call on the shield there. That would pretty much one-shot us. But now we're probably pretty safe to farm down the Toxicroak. And the lag's going to make us do that anyway. Down two shields, but we do have energy lead on the Meganium, and it does hit like a truck. And we have hopefully got our best counter out of the way. So we're just going to go for a cheeky farm down on the Bastiodon and switch out to Stunfisk. In comes the Victory Bell. I think we should have anticipated that, given the Bastiodon in the front, but there we go. The Toxicroak threw me off the scent. We're just going to spam this with Rock Slides, and incoming move. Obviously we've got no shields left, so we're not shielding. It's a Leaf Blade. Takes us out. Okay, so Bastiodon. Can Meganium save the day with Frenzy Plants? Frenzy Plant's going to come through and double resisted, but they shielded it, so we can land the Earthquake now. This is going to be tight, but the Earthquake should take out the Victory Bell because it's neutral thanks to the Poison Grass cancelling out. Good game to my opponent. kind of tight, but you know, I'll take it. It's a fun match that way. What have we got next? I've noticed that there's definitely bans in the meta of, you know, certain ratings you see more of certain things. So I saw an awful lot of Razor Leafers for this set. Right, so Stunfisk into a Galvantula lead. Galvantula's not good for our Meganium, obviously. But their Swampert really doesn't like our Meganium, so that's good. We've drawn out their Swampert, and we're now going to be able to land an Earthquake on it and hopefully get a shield. If not, we'll do it some damage. Swampert, obviously, we can eat it with Meganium to farm it for energy. This is kind of the ideal scenario, really, because we keep it away from Bastiodon and we get the energy farm. Right, so we're going to go for a bit of chip damage because they're clearly farming us down here. But looks like they're going to go into the thing with an energy lead. Now, I think they're pretty close to a Sludge Wave here. They're going to finish us off with a Hydro Cannon, I think just to avoid the risk that we'll throw an Earthquake at them. So now we're going to peck them down with Meganium, anticipate the Sludge Wave, and it's a Hydro Cannon. So that probably means they're going to get to a Sludge Wave again really quickly, and so I don't shield it because then we'll go down 2 shields, and they don't have it. So maybe they had an Earthquake there. Either way, that's fine by me. Galvantula comes back in, and that's not so good for us because the Lunge does super effective and it debuffs us. However, in return, we are hitting them with Frenzy Plant, which pretty much, even when resisted, still hits like a truck, particularly against something squishy like Galvantula. So they can't really afford not to shield. Oh no, well they can. So there you go. But it has taken comfortably half their health. So, you know, Frenzy Plant is a crazy move. And there we go. So that's the shields down. In comes the Muck. Now, can we get to the Earthquake in time? No. Oops. Right, so they're going to take us out here with a Dark Pulse. We're not going to get to Earthquake the Muck, which would have been ideal. So now it's whether Bastiodon can carry us home. Similar chance here, because Bastiodon is stupidly bulky. And look at that, Dark Pulse barely even scratches it. So we're going to farm down, get Stone Edge off, and kabonk, and get a little bit of energy farm in on that last bit of health. Excellent. And then in comes Galvantula. Galvantula's just got a dreadful matchup against Bastiodon, because it resists everything. Well, it doesn't resist the electric actually, but the rock hits are super effective. Lunge doesn't do a lot of good. We're getting into Victory Bell. As I said, I ran into quite a few of these. So we have Victory Bell, so we're just going to have to anticipate a Basti in the back. So we are going to save up the Galarian Stunfisk just for that eventuality and move straight into charging up an Earthquake, but baiting with a Frenzy Plant. They can't really afford to let the Earthquake land, whereas we're just going to let the Leaf Blade land and just kind of hope. Acid Spray landing would have been mildly painful because it's super effective, but obviously it doesn't do a lot of damage. And we've got the shield. Excellent. So we're going to go for a quick switch now to a Stunfisk, which I shouldn't have done because, well, I've got no Azumarill. Fine. I'm still anticipating there's a Basti in the back, but Basti versus Basti is not the worst outcome. And we can throw Earthquakes at this Azumarill, and we put the shield lead. So, and actually we're not very far from a Frenzy Plant on the Meganium, so hopefully we'll be able to land that if they drop that shield. That's kind of the name of the game here. We want that shield down, and this is where we find out whether they've got Hydro Pump or not. And they do. Okay, so Meganium comes in, and we go quickly for the Frenzy Plant. Hopefully this will take them down. But we're not out of the woods yet, because they've got a Stunfisk, and the Bastiodon versus Stunfisk matchup is not very good at all. I think that was too quick, so I'm going to call that as a Rock Slide, and I was wrong. But either way, I don't think it mattered. With Gunfisk versus Bastiodon, yeah, it's a mess. Okay, so next up. Meganium into Medicham. That's an interesting one. This could be Agent Milkman's team of Medicham, Munchlax and Dugong. So actually we want to stay in here with the Meganium as much as possible because Medicham is a huge threat to the two steals at the back. But we're not going to let this land. I was anticipating a Parrot Punch actually, but now we know it's a nice punch, we can afford to play a few games here. Right, so there's the Munchlax. That means they've got probably a Dugong in the back. Maybe Lapras, but either way. So we do some damage to the Munchlax and we bring in the Stunfisk. Now, Munchlax does have the option to bulldoze us, which will hurt, but it won't be disastrous. It'll just scratch a bit. And actually, they chose not to shield, so we take them down. In comes Medicham again. And now Medicham's health is sufficiently low that despite resisting the Rock Slide, they can't really afford to let it through. so we're just going to let the Ice Punch land. Ice Punch doesn't hurt us that much, and it's not powering them up like a Parrot Punch would, so it's actually better for us than some of the options. I'm guessing they've probably got Psychic as well on the side, because that's fairly standard. Next move going through, again probably another Ice Punch. There's no reason to use anything else really here, and we take it out. And there we go with the Dugong. I don't know why I brought the Meganium in there, that was stupid. I think I just misclicked. Bastiodon, I think, can carry this home. Now, we've got to watch out for Water Pulse, and this might be, so we're going to shield it. There we go. Water Pulse is super effective, but doesn't hit very hard. Water Pulse is a terrible move, but the rock damage on the Dugong is going to take it down quite handily. I think Medicham and Dugong will probably benefit quite a bit from the upcoming balance changes, actually, given the nerfs to Flyers and Azumarill and the like. Okay, so Talonflame lead. I haven't seen many of those. Fire doesn't really do well with my team, but still, Galarian Stunfisk pushed it off, and we've got the Azumarill coming in, which can unload the Earthquakes to try to get some shields down. Now, I think I need to be a bit cautious with this play, and I think I make a mistake here, because what I really need to do is win this switch. Because Talonflame versus Meganium is just game over, and that's what I've just made happen. So I can take out the Azumarill, and my best case scenario now is whatever they've got in the back is also not too strong against Bastiodon. So I'm going to have to switch before they farm me too much. Thankfully, my opponent's giving me time to do that. So there we go, straight into the Bastiodon, and Shiftry. This is maybe workable, but I think we're in trouble. Anyway, so we're going to have to shield hard against the Shiftry, because it still hurts with the Leaf Blades. And we can get to the Flamethrowers on it, and that'll force shields, but it's still got 2, and so, yeah, this is going to be tough. But I don't think we're in terrible straits just yet, because we do hit double super effect with the rock. So let's see. Let's see if we can get the shields down on the Shiftry. Yep, there's the next one. We're going to take another blow from the Leaf Blade, and it's farming us up quite merrily. Maybe we can get sneaky and swap in the Meganium if this fight draws out much longer. Right, so I've got Meganium ready. Obviously have to let the Leaf Blade land, but I think we can guess when the next one's going to come through. And there we go, there's the Leaf Blade. Throw the Stone Edge on the Talonflame. Now at this point I probably should have swapped, because they're going to get to their flame charge. Now, I wasn't counting moves well enough. If I'd realised that, I'd probably swapped to Meganium, maybe convince them to flame charge it, but as it is, we're trying to frenzy plant something that double resists it, so that's going to be ending badly for us. The fire move, Earthquake's probably only single resisted, but it's not going to help much here, because incoming a Brave Bird. Yikes. Good game. So guys, so yes, we're with balance changes nerfing Razor Leaf on Victory Bell. I think Meganium's got a bit more play in the next half of the season, just because you won't be running into Razor Leaf quite as often that double resist you. Azumarill will still be about, Gunfisk will still be about, and I think we might see a bit more Registeel actually as a result of some of the nerfs, and Meganium does well against all of them. Oh, and Flyers, Sky Attack reduces in power. Speaking of Registeel, there it is. That's great. One of the reasons that Meganium is awesome is because it can handle Registeel and Azumarill. We're going to switch to our Stunfisk now, because that handles Registeel even better. But it does mean we have to watch out for Focus Blast, which really hurts. So, incoming Focus Blast. We can just swap Focus Blast with Earthquakes, and we outpace them, I think. So, we're in a good place here. I'm throwing a bait here, because, well, why not? They don't seem to be in a shieldy mood. They were prepared to let the Registeel go, so, yeah. We are going to have to shield here, because otherwise, obviously, this will probably one-shot us. And there's the Focus Blast. Kablam. So, overcharge a bit, and throw the Earthquake. Overcharge is handy, because it means we get to the next charge, move a little bit faster against whatever comes in next, while still taking the Registeel out. And we've got time, because they just threw their Focus Blast. You may as well get some return on your shield investment. Right, so move to an Earthquake on the Azumarill. Azus don't like to shield, so hopefully we'll land this. And sure enough we do. That's good. I find when facing Azumarills, actually going straight into the Earthquake is actually a good call, because whilst in theory that's the best thing for them to shield, they often don't shield the first thing, even if we've got a shield available. Right, Marowak, we're going to Bastiodon to counter the Marowak. This is, it's not a terrible matchup, it's not a great one. I mean, we hit them super effective, and we're neutral to fire, but of course their Bone Club is double super effective. And double super effective Bone Club goes from being a pretty terrible move to actually a really good move. So as you can see, it's taking big chunks out of this Basti. But we're pecking away, and if we can get this down low enough that the Meganium can finish it, then we'll be in a good place. And there we go. Right, this will be them finishing off. It's going to be kind of tight because it's going to hurt, but I think they'll have used up the last energy. And at this point, we're just going to farm. They go for the switch, but we've got 2 Frenzy Plants, and I think a double Frenzy Plant will be enough to take out both things left. So there's goodbye Azumarill, and then there's goodbye Marowak. Boing! It's got one of the good sound effects as well. What have we got next? Yes, this team's all about the bait and about the switch advantage, so you do desperately need to win the switch advantage. Most of my failures with this team have been as a result of not really maintaining that effectively. You have to throw your shields down, you can't really let your Gunfisk go. So it's not ideal. But sometimes you can get away with it, because they'll bring out something that you can successfully farm viably and go from there. And there we go. Might be able to hear someone talking to my dog in the background. There we go. Earthquaking the Azumarill. Let's see if I let this one land. Neither of us spent shields yet, so this is kind of a game of chicken really. And there we go. Goodbye Azumarill. Nope. At this point, the shield is worth spending because we've got an energy lead, we've got switch advantage. It's worth going down a shield here. Then we can control what comes in next, which won't be the Skarmory because it won't like facing the steel, so it will be something else. And then it's Swampert. So that's great. That's won us the game basically, because now Swampert gets aligned with Meganium and Skarmory gets to be aligned with Bastiodon. Much better than the other way around. And there we go. Swampert's taken us down, that's okay. In comes Skarm, and we go straight to Basti, and it's basically game over here. There is very little Skarmory can do to take down a Bastiodon. I mean, with Flash Cannon it can peck away a little bit and do a little bit of harm. You know, it stops it being completely farmable at that point, and you do actually have to throw a charge move to take it out. At this point though, I'm throwing a flamethrower just to kind of nibble it down a little bit, do a little bit of damage and hope to get the shield. They're not in a shielding mood, so I just blow my energy and carry on farming. At this point, obviously, I'm pretty confident they haven't got a Flash Cannon. Brave Bird similarly does not very much, so we just kind of sit here a little bit, waiting for the switch timer to finish because we were anticipating them doing that, and sure enough they did. We shield here against the vague possibility of a Sludge Wave, and there it is, and the Frenzy Plant's now going to be able to do some good work. However, we double Frenzy Plant to get through the shield, and it's another Sludge Wave. Okay, so I've been miscounting. Bit of an error on my part, but I think we'll still manage to take the Swampert out, and yes, there we go. So we throw the rocks at the Skarmory. I'm not sure why I'm in charge here. I think just mostly because I'm pretty sure they were going to throw a shield up. Brave Bird comes in, still doesn't do enough. Good game. I find when I switch team style, it does end up being a bit rough on the first few plays, just because you get used to the fact that you do need to maintain switch advantage, or you don't need to maintain switch advantage. Okay, so Shadow Victory Bell, anticipating a Basti in the back with the Deoxys in particular. That sounds a lot like Wallower's team of Victory Bell, Bastiodon, and Deoxys as the safe swap. So we nibble away at the Deoxys with our Frenzy Plant. We're just staying in here because obviously our best matchup right now is with the Meganium. And we can actually handle the Victory Bell kind of with one of the others. So we're going to let this land because it was a Psycho Boost. Okay, well that was unexpected. You don't see Psycho Boost very often, but that's okay because now they've debuffed their attack and they're switch locked. We can bring in the Bastiodon fairly safely because their counter damage does hurt, but Psycho Boost doesn't at all. Debuff themselves a little bit further. And actually, they can't even debuff themselves anymore because they're on -4 stages on their attack. So you don't see the debuff message because they've already lowered their damage to 50%. So basically, we're just going to not throw anything here because they just can't actually do any damage at all. Get some nice big energy farm, and there we go. There's the Bastiodon as expected. Throw a flamethrower. That will get their attention a little bit, but actually, this is fine. We've got shield lead. We can just, let this go down to the Bastiodon whilst nibbling away at their health, because that gives us a farming opportunity with our Galarian Stunfisk. We can either, start farming their mud shots, but and we anticipate them switching out quite quickly when that comes in, just because Bastiodon's onto a loser. So what we'll do is go for a Stunfisk switch, and sure enough, there's the Victory Bell. We throw our Rock Slide. Victory Bell being very squishy, it can tank a Rock Slide just about, but it's going to hurt. So now we've got that down, we're just going to double shield here. Their Leaf Tornado is a nuisance. It's quite a nice move on Victory Bell, I think, but it won't be enough, because now we can get to our Earthquake. It's for neutral, it's quite hard for neutral. Goodbye, and we've still got a shield left in case Bastiodon gets the Flamethrower first. I don't think they will. Then again, I was wrong. But we do have a shield left in case you get the Flamethrower first. And there we go. We're going to just get to our Earthquake. It's been double debuffed, but doesn't matter. Double super effective against Bastiodon means it's toast. I don't think you take it out completely from full health, but it leaves it down in the red. Anyway, so next up, Meganium leading into Hypno. Okay, so Hypno's one of those annoying ones to face, obviously. It can have almost any move ever. I exaggerate, but it feels like it. Hypno always has the wrong move. So this is where we find out that... Okay, so we're going to anticipate this is an anti-steal of some kind, but it's probably... Okay, it's a Focus Blast. You don't see Hypnos with Focus Blast very often, and when they do, they utterly wreck me, because I always miscall it and let it through, and, well, I don't think that's what the person doing it counts on. That's okay though, we've drawn out the Hypno, we've eaten a Focus Blast, we know it's got Focus Blast now, so we know we just definitely don't want to let that land on the Bastiodon. We can take out the Azumarill, we can go no shields against the Azumarill, because one of the joys of Meganium is it can tank an Ice Beam. We do shield against the first one, in case of possibility though, because it does still hurt. Now we know we've got to play rough, because there's simply no reason for them to throw an Ice Beam otherwise. Sorry, to not throw an Ice Beam, so that means we can get some farming in. It would be safe to catch a play rough and not waste a shield. Incoming Altaria, we're going to have to go for a switch to Bastiodon. Bastiodon versus Altaria is a great matchup, but they can't afford to, stay in that one. So here we go with the Hypno again, and this time, I lost count, but it could have been a Focus Blast. It was a Thunder Punch. Doesn't matter. We've gone down 2 shields, but we've got such a strong matchup against this Altaria. Even being down 2 shields doesn't matter. They've lost. Sky Attack does that much damage, you see, because we double resist flying and we resist Dragon Breath. Good game to my opponent. So yes, this team's given me a nice run. There's a 4 out of 5 set, and I think the previous one was a 3 out of 5. I've had a couple of 5 out of 5s. It's bounced up, then I bounce down again, but that's the way it goes. It's done me quite well. It's a bit of an old school kind of double steel team, and it brings out one of my favourite Pokemon, Meganium. It's served me very well since Season 1. So, yes. Have you seen Meganium recently? I haven't seen much of it, but I still think it's very good. I think in particular it gets even more interesting when the balance changes kick in, because obviously Razor Leaf stops being quite so dominant, and Razor Leafers with their grass poisoning types stop being quite so dominant. That means there's a lot more room for something like Meganium to flourish. And actually it probably benefits quite a lot from Sky Attack being reduced in power as well, because obviously the appeal of flying types drops, and Meganium's biggest weakness by far is the fact that it just can't handle flyers at all, between double resisted ground moves, single resisted plant moves, and often double resisted because it's this Skarmory with steel typing. Anyway, hope your season's going well. We're coming up to the last half of coming up to the first half of season 6 ending soon. I hope your rating's gone up quite nicely. I'm just a sniff away from the next bracket, which is I think Veteran at 2500. I'm hoping to get there in the next couple of days. So, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a good day.